we please restart live stream, recording, and then bring the candidates in. I'm not looking at you guys. While we wait for the candidates to come back in, just general reminders for the General Assembly and for those who are attending elections for the first time. There's a general round of applause for all the candidates. There's no winning speeches, there's no winning remarks, but just as a courtesy to all the candidates who ran, there's a general applause for everybody. But we'll wait for the candidates to be back. I'll wait for my live stream and recording confirmation, and then we can continue. I will ask the candidates to come up. All right. Thank you to all the candidates for running and for waiting while we all deliberated. The SUNY Student Assembly President-elect for 2026 to 2027 is Aisha Adam. Thank you. We will now continue down our agenda into the vice president elections. All right, I'm going to ask General Assembly for some silence. I'm going to ask General Assembly for some silence. Placard 91. I'm going to ask the General Assembly for some silence. There is a motion for a 5-minute recess. I will say, please hold decorum. No cross-talking if you are not recognized for the floor. That said, there is a motion. Can you hold up your placard again, please? Thank you. By placard 91 for a 5-minute recess. Is there a second? There is a second by 84. I will just say one thing, just so General Assembly, before we do this vote, just so you guys have this context as I do while I'm running this meeting. We are on a very tight schedule today. 11:45, we have to be out of the room. That is our dead cut by the hotel, so we have to be out of the room by 11:45. That said, prior to that, we also have to be out of the room at 5:30 for them to set up for dinner. So we have these two deadlines, a lot of elections, a lot of resolutions with more being added. So just keep that in mind as you make your vote. But I'll start with the voice vote, and then depending on if I'm able to make a decision from the voice vote, we'll see if we need a placard vote for this. So on the motion for a 5-minute recess, all those in favor say aye. All those in opposition say nay. Nay. All those abstaining say aye. So the nays have it. No recess on the table, which lets us continue down the agenda into our vice president elections. I ask the General Assembly for some silence. Please do not leave your seats unless you really need to, especially if you are a voting delegate. That said, I will now ask the pre-nominated vice presidential candidates to please make their way to the Rules Committee table on the left. Thank you. That said, I'm now opening the floor for any advance nomination for vice president, secretary, and treasurer for all of the remainder of the e-board positions for 5 minutes. With a 5-minute timer on the clock, if you're interested in running for vice president, treasurer, or secretary, please grab an advance nomination from system table in the back and get it submitted as soon as possible. We will also need eligibility verification. We have a timer going, and we'll keep the floor open for 5 minutes. General Assembly, please be seated if you are a voting delegate. Another thing, if you want an advance nomination form, please come to the Rules Committee table. We have forms over here. I'll hand you a form. If, again, you want an advance nomination form, please come out to this table. On the timer we have, Vice President Coker, on the timer we have.
We have 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining.
We have 2 minutes, 50
seconds
seconds
remaining.
Please grab the advance nomination form, and then you can work on submitting it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, no. You're so funny. No, so I have my okay. Okay. We're getting her.
Hey, Sophie, I know we're not in an executive session now, but I know the yoga and mindfulness is active right now. Am I free to, no, I'm not. All right, perfect. Thank you. Just wanted to check it out. Yeah. Thank you very much.
For the room, there is 1 minute remaining to fill out advance nomination forms and submit them back to the system administration table. 1 minute remaining to fill out your advance nomination forms and get them back to system admin in the back. Thank you.
All right. The floor is now closed for advanced nominations and off the floor nominations for the executive officer positions.
If you have lost a pair of black glasses missing one temple, I have them up here. Again, a pair of black glasses, one singular temple. They're up here for you. Thank you.
Those might just be varnished. I'm not kidding. Or maybe they just found that they were like, that's like they're just like,
we just wanted to work on the continuity because we'll see what happens. But yeah, we got at least five campuses. So.
take this up to Cameron just for it to charge. We're gonna get started.
Yeah, just text Luca that we're about to get started. All right.
I have a present for you, Cameron.
I ask the General Assembly for some silence. I ask the General Assembly for some silence. Please take your seats, and we're going to get started with our vice presidential speeches for our vice president race. Are we good on live streaming and recording? Perfect. All right. So please welcome the vice presidential candidates for their speeches up to the front. Thank you. Going over the same things, same procedure for elections. Candidates, you will have 3 minutes. I'm going to ask Rules Committee to please start with the timers and stuff. So candidates, you will have 3 minutes. I will be doing 1 light tap at 1 minute, 2 light taps at 30 seconds, and 3 light taps at 15 seconds. And then if you continue to go over time, there will be a harsher tap and your mic will be turned off. That said, we'll do it in the same manner with alphabetically from last name. Candidate Cooper, you'll have the floor. Please begin when you hear the gavel. You may begin now.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tavon Cooper, and I'm honored to stand before you as a candidate for Vice President of this Assembly. My journey in student leadership did not begin here. It has been built over the years of service, growth, and commitment across multiple systems and institutions. I began my leadership journey in CUNY, where I was actively involved in the CUNY University Senate. That experience introduced me to university-wide governance and taught me the importance of advocacy at scale. Since then, I have continued to build on that foundation. I have served as director of DEI in my student government association, where I've worked to ensure that inclusion was not just a conversation, but a practice embedded in our campus culture. Today, I serve as VP-elect of my SGA, preparing to lead and support a legislative body that represents the voices of our students. I understand what it takes to govern, to collaborate, and to move meaningful work forward. In my role as Special Assistant for Events, Conference, and Logistics, I meet weekly with leadership to plan for executive committee meetings, as well as coordinate fall and this spring conference. The role of the VP is the most responsible part is to plan conferences, which I have been doing or helping with. Because beyond campus, I have served as networking chair of court-appointed special advocate, CASA NYC, associate board, building connections and creating opportunities for engagement across community benefiting children in foster care systems. I have also had the privilege of serving on an advisory board for Ithaca College, where I advocated for development and helped shape how young leaders are prepared for governance roles. As I continue my academic journey, I am currently pursuing my MBA, my 4th degree, because I believe that leadership requires constant growth, learning, and refinement. But beyond every little and every role, my purpose remains the same: to serve us, the students. I bring experience, I bring discipline, and I bring a proven commitment to leadership, and I am ready to deliver. Because this role is not about me, it's about all of us, your voice, your campuses, your future, your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lucas Pastwick. I am the SUNY Geneseo Student Association president. I was just reelected for the second term. I am also the University Center Caucus chair. I represent campuses like Buff State, Fredonia, Geneseo, my home campus. I have traveled extensively across the state in recent months, whether or not it was to Advocacy Day for SUNY SA, alongside SUNY Purchase, who's in the back over there, to advocate for deferred maintenance and critical maintenance needs across SUNY. One of the highlights of the trips that I usually take are meeting with assembly members and state senators. So it was great to be invited by SUNY Purchase to come and speak alongside you to advocate for your needs. Outside of SUNY SA, I have said I am the Geneseo SA president. Prior to that, I was the SA director of student affairs, which handled on-campus advocacy at Geneseo. And then prior to that, I served as a student senate in our legislative body. I have a wealth of knowledge in advocacy, all the way dating back to when I was a freshman at SUNY Geneseo in the Student Senate, and now moving into my senior year at SUNY Geneseo, I am ready to partake in bigger and better adventures for SUNY students. So one of the things that I am extremely passionate about is the idea of representation at SUNY SA. I myself, I've already said it, but I am the representative for five of the UC campuses. It is really important to me that we have communication from the bottom up and the top down. So far, I think a lot of what we've heard today has been not necessarily that. Not necessarily at the fault of a larger body, but we can definitely do a lot more work. With the experience that I have as being the representative and the UC caucus chair, I can take what I understand from being a rep and elevate it to, as you said, a big part of being the VP is event and planning, but the other half is management of the representatives. I think Sophie has done a very good job this year at communicating with myself, at least, and has given me lots of information on what I need to do my job and do it well. I am also looking forward to at least advocating on your behalf as vice president. The roles, I think there's a distinction that needs to be made as well from VP to president. The vice president is the number 2 to the president of SUNY SA. We don't necessarily tackle policy per se, but we have a very unique role as being a manager of this organization. And with that, I think I have a really good pass and a really good understanding of what needs to come next for SUNY SA and the vast majority of you all here. I've met with a number of campuses that are in this room already, and we've talked a lot about advocacy and what needs to come next. With that, I look forward to speaking with you, answering questions, and securing your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate. Now we'll move into the question and answers part of the vice presidential race. Can we have mic runners back at mic running? You'll go first. Yeah, thank you. Not from them. They're speaking. Here, go on. All right, so if you have a question, please raise your placards high. 68. And we will be, the limit is still 4 for the vice presidential questions as well. If anybody wants to reduce or increase the limit, you can motion at any time. 68.
My question for both the candidates is, what do you feel, as a prospective candidate for the vice president position, is the purpose for SUNY SA Conference, as this is really the one only event that many of our students get to experience, especially for our smaller campuses that are bringing several non-voting members? Where do you think that this event particularly helps to improve our campuses?
That is a great question.
I will hold on responding for the timer. Thank you. No worries. Can we also have Sharia Arnold go to the system table, please, and just briefly connect with system. Okay, so candidates, you'll have 1 minute to respond to the questions each. We'll start with candidate Pastwick and then candidate Cooper. You'll get 1 light tap at 30 seconds and then 2 light taps at 15 seconds. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
It was a little too soon for that. I'm really passionate, that's why. So one of the things that I think we can do a much better job at during these conferences is cross-position meetings. I think that we have a lot of programming that happens at these conferences, but in speaking with treasurers, for example, every single SUNY school has at least a treasurer, a comptroller, someone who handles the financial day-to-days of your university's SA. Where are the meetings that pertain to the positions? I would like my treasurer to meet with Stony Brook's treasurer. I would like Stony Brook's treasurer to meet with UB's treasurer. So I think that we can, and I have more to go into this as well, I've got 20 seconds. Cross-campus communication is extremely important. We are here twice a year. We need to be able to have the cross-campus communication at this conference and outside, but that's another question for another time, so thank you.
Thank you, candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So for me, Triana, we don't have to meet only in the fall and in the spring. We can come together, have regional conferences, mini conferences where we all have money where we can use for professional development. And I am a huge fan of professional development so my background is in HR. I work in a managerial role in HR. I live for that. I have tons of ideas when it comes to that because I feel like in each role, people can develop on their skills. And so it's to provide those workshops, those tools, and give people the opportunity to execute their roles and responsibilities with support. And I feel like providing that support and us being the support system for ourselves, it's possible.
Thank you, candidate. Please raise your placards high for questions. Placard 44.
Yes, Joshua Gill Wilson, SUNY Empire. So what does success look like for you both in this role after a year, and how can us as students measure that?
Thank you. Candidate Cooper, you will be going first. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So I'll say this. For me, success can be measured. So for me, if I'm elected your VP and I'm putting on a fall or spring conference, I think that after each conference, we should have a post-survey. You evaluate the conference, you give your suggestions and feedback, and take that into planning to build what you guys want to see, what you guys want to do, and work on that. And that's how I think success can be measured in that role.
Thank you, candidate.
Thanks.
Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Thanks. Yeah, that's a great question. It goes right off of what Triana was talking about. I think that we can measure it in two different ways, one internally and then two externally. What you take from this from these conferences, and maybe even what he was saying about regional meetings, for example, what you take out of it, you can benefit from, especially if it's leadership development, things that you are able to use and be like, you see us up here, you see the presidential candidates, the treasurers, and the secretary of like, wait, I want to do what they're doing. I've come to these conferences and I've been able to expand my knowledge. I now want to get involved in the higher positions, even if it's a representative, for example. The second part, being able to measure that by bringing it back to your home campus. I think a big part of what we do here is, we're supposed to all engage with one another and then bring the ideas that we all share back to our home campuses in order to benefit the students that we represent. That's extremely important for what we do, and if it's not being done, I don't necessarily see a success of SUNY
Thank
SA.
you, candidate. If you have any questions, please raise your placard. Please raise your placard high. 107.
Thank you. As a community college leader, something I want to ask is, would you be willing to commit to trainings for community college students in preparation for SUNY SA? Because although we have our advisors who help us year after year, the turnover rate for our leadership is incredibly quick, and it would be great to have peer leadership and review directly from you both. So, thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Paswick, you'll go first now. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Yeah, so that's actually a conversation that I've had with a number of community colleges, and something that I have thought about, and this kind of ties into your question. I think SUNY SA has a really good opportunity to provide guidelines for not just community colleges, but ag techs, UCs, DGIU. I think that we can really work as an advocacy body if we all understand certain guidelines. Specifically for community colleges, the turnover is something that I have spoken to many people about. You can't avoid that. That's something that just happens. With the conversations that I've had, that falls right in line with what I was talking about and what I'm trying to do if I'm elected as VP. Programming, it's dependent on what the students want. If people are registering for these conferences, we might be able to at least venture out and say, hey, what do you want to see? You're the community caucus, you're a community caucus leader, what do you want to see? But that also ties back into one of my first points of enabling the representatives that we have here that report back up.
Thank you, candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So for me, like as VP, I have no authority over your campus, whatever, but engage me, invite me in. I will step in, I will come, I will give suggestions, none of us has authority to step into your local space, so you have to invite us in, ask us for input, ask us how we can best support you, and we will come up with whatever best way we can provide the help you need. And I think across all university systems, that's the problem. There's a high turnover, we all need training, we all need support, but in the end, SUNY SA is supposed to be like that body you turn to for support whenever you're falling behind. So, yeah, invite us in.
Thank you, candidate. So please raise your placards high for the last question for the vice presidential race. Placard 16.
I'm going to give my time to Shai. Sorry.
So both of you guys talked about the multitude of experiences that you've had with leadership. I'm kind of curious about what you guys have found, what essentially is like the best way for us to advocate for policies and the issues that we want to be resolved on campus. If you guys could just speak a little bit about that.
Thank you. Candidate Cooper, you will be going first. You may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So for me, working in huge systems, get it passed in your local university student body first. Bring it to us with that support. That way you have support from your student body. You have people, pushing for this. And when you come here, talk to everybody, share the resolution, push for it. You'll gather more people. And there is power in strength, as you know. So the more people you have in favor, and you can say, hey, we got it passed over here, you guys should consider it. It will get more. Resolutions also, they're very powerful and meaningful and can change a lot of things. And I think, it's about finding that shared value in the resolution and the common ground and pushing it forward. It's all about the votes.
Thank you, candidate. Okay. So, right, candidate Paswick, sorry guys.
One more.
Candidate Paswick, one more response. You may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
I'm going to say it again and again. Your representatives. I know that you are the chair of the community caucus. We both, as representatives, have an obligation to utilize what can be inferred as the chain of command. For example, if something at your campus is needed like that, utilize the chain of command. And that's something that me as VP, I'll be able to work on, is the experience that I already have in operating that with the communication with all the campuses. So, and like I was saying with that as well, and not saying that we would, come in and have direct oversight, but if it was requested or if it was needed, SUNY SA can have insight to help campuses and to help student leaders actually be leaders. I yield.
Thank you, candidate. So we are at our 4-question limit now. I will entertain any motions, and any motion specifically to go into an executive session for vice presidential deliberations. 58, is this a motion to? First by 58, a motion to move into executive session. Second by 56. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. All those abstaining, please say aye. Perfect. So now we're in executive session. Candidates will be leaving the room with a member. can be continued again, recording as well, and candidates may be brought back. Thank you. I'm not doing this. You guys want to do it? Go for it, not me. I mean, what does she have to lose?
Busy schmoozing.
I think, because he didn't get to do it, is it fair? Am I making all of them do it, especially considering? You can stand and then you can go. You can, yeah, you're president. Do it. Thank you. Thank you, candidates, for waiting during deliberations. Is live stream back on? Confirmation recording? Perfect, great. Thank you. The vice president-elect for 2026-2027 is Lucas Paswick. Okay, so next we will be moving into treasurer elections. Next we will be moving into treasurer elections. Can I ask the pre-nominated candidates to please come to the Rules Committee table on the left? Okay, I'm gonna go connect with system. Barely. And then -1. Sophie. All right, I ask the General Assembly for some silence. I ask the General Assembly for some silence. I will also ask everybody to please take their seats as we welcome our candidates for the treasurer race up to the front. Okay. Candidates, again, 3 minutes for your speeches. At 1 minute, I'll do 1 light tap. At 30 seconds, there will be 2 light taps. At 15 seconds, there will be 3 light taps. If you keep on going, you'll hear harsher taps and your mic will be turned off. You will be going in the order of last name first, which is the order that you are standing in right now. So we will start with candidate Deram. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Hi, I'm Zora. I'm Cornell's youngest 2-term student assembly president, and I'm excited to earn your vote to be the next SUNY SA treasurer. Lucky for me, responsible money management is closely tied to my own household and upbringing. My father is a 9th-generation farmer, and my mother is an Iranian refugee. As you can imagine, growing up in a farm household with an immigrant mother is an exercise in fiscal responsibility. To make matters better for my career path to SUNY SA treasurer, I've grown up watching my mother spread her wings, attending night classes to earn her master's and doctorates in accounting, and now teach first-generation underprivileged and incarcerated students financial skills. Naturally, I've taken accounting classes, business management classes, and manage and prepared a $6.5 million budget on my home campus. If there's one thing I know, it is effective, efficient, and honest money management. To me, being an effective treasurer is the best way to ensure that SUNY SA can best support the leaders and students within the system and this room. Having served as a voting delegate for 3 years now, quite literally since my first month in office, and now a University Center representative for 1 year, I have seen and felt where SUNY has worked and failed. I went from being a president who didn't know Cornell had higher representation in this body to that very higher representation whose emails bounce, energy is stifled, and who cannot understand why SUNY SA lets itself be delegitimized. So here's my plan. Of course, I'll do the job. Be on time in stipend payments and budgetary allocations, and be available to troubleshoot at any time. Most important to you all and the productive future of SUNY SA, I will allocate for more SUNY SA events that bring our campuses together to truly get to work. I can't be the only one who finds the fall conference better than the spring. If you are not a student at a major SUNY, you do not benefit from these self-important elections. And I believe we cannot justify the necessity of these elections without SUNY SA actually helping the whole system. The fall conference is full of networking, team building, and leadership lessons. Imagine how powerful SUNY SA opportunities could be if we formalized meetings and brainstorming opportunities between SUNY SA executives and Western New York, separate from Long Island or Capital or Downstate. I will work to formalize regional meetings and budget accordingly. And have no fear, I will responsibly represent SUNY at all times. It is no secret that Cornell is Cornell. SUNY isn't in the name, but it is in the experience. My major cohort takes direct transfers from Tompkins-Cortland Community College, TC3. My smartest teammates are Cobleskill transfers, and SUNY SA has been an invaluable partner as I advocate for basic needs access and deferred maintenance on my campus. SUNY's resources are the reason I attend Cornell, and it is my responsibility to pay it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Can everyone hear me? Hi, my name is Renato Guida. I'm a sophomore right now at Hudson Valley Community College. I am also the current director for Student Voices with a policy portfolio of international students and first-generation students. And obviously, I'm running for treasurer. Student government is a true love of mine. When I first started my first semester in spring of 2025 as a student senator at HVCC, I could not have conceived of where it would take me. Being able to make a direct, tangible impact, something I could see with my own eyes, shaped my understanding of what public service means, first on my campus and eventually in SUNY statewide student governance. When I was appointed to the presidential cabinet this past December, I'm not going to lie, it was a stressful undertaking. And as someone mentioned, it is a massive flow of information coming to all at once. Understanding the SUNY system, grasping the scope of the organization, performing my role at its fullest, that was a steep learning curve. But when I started to get the hang of it, when I began to understand the nuances of the service and the research I was providing, I fell in love with SUNY SA, and I knew I wanted to do more. I'm running for treasurer because I don't just love the organization, I have the skills the role demands. I serve on the board of directors of the International Center of the Capital Region, a nonprofit that works for the U.S. State Department to bring over international delegations from over 100 countries. I lead their youth engagement work, and I was awarded a New York State Senate grant of $21,000 for our youth diplomacy initiatives, money I have had to allocate, track, and disperse responsibly. With that, I am also the vice president of the HVCC Investment Club, where I directly manage a $70,000 investment portfolio. Where I directly manage a $70,000 portfolio. I make and buy and sell decisions, I manage stock allocations, I communicate with our school's foundation and our management firm. During my tenure, that portfolio has gained over $10,000, putting us in the top 1% of portfolios. And in my professional life as an event coordinator at Ilium Bar and Brewing in Troy, New York, I manage event income ranging from $100 to tens of thousands of dollars. I want to bring this experience in money management to the SUNY system. I want to bring real-world application and not just to SUNY SA, but to ensuring financial visibility and sustainability. Working closely with the future president and executive board. As your chief fiscal officer, I will present clear, accessible financial reports that everyone in this room can actually understand. I will use my skills in grant allocation and money management to craft a responsible annual budget, and I will bring a sustainable, well-understood budget request to the Board of Trustees. One that advocates for the resources that all of our students deserve. I'm not here because this is the next step on a ladder. I am here because I love this organization. I have the financial skills it needs, and I am ready to work for every single one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Benjamin Lau. I'm from the University at Buffalo, and I'm running to be your next treasurer for the SUNY Student Assembly. I could just start stating why I think I'm qualified for the treasurer role of SUNY SA, but I'd rather focus on my campaign, which is to focus on you. I'm running to create a basic, feasible, practical agenda of simple ideas that could benefit the student governments of SUNY. I want to make SUNY SA work for you. The key pillar of my campaign is improving financial transparency in SUNY SA by creating a monthly, very light newsletter to all 64 SUNY campuses so that every campus is aware of how that money SUNY SA receives is being spent. I'll make it as simple as possible because ain't nobody got time to read a whole newspaper every month. It'll be as simple as having a budget line with the starting amount that line has received to every simple transaction that SUNY SA has uncovered. UBSA does something similar with their general ledger. I'm a busy college student, and so are all of you. To ensure I will follow through my promise, I have set myself a realistic deadline. By the end of the 15th of each month is when I will send out the newsletter to all 64 campuses. I chose the 15th because that's the day that tax day lands on. And like many of you, I will be scrambling to file my taxes before the deadline. Like I will be scrambling to finish that newsletter. Want to know what is more scary than being jumped by the IRS? Being jumped by a bunch of angry SUNY college students. Another key pillar of my campaign is affordability. I like to make the conference registration as cheap as possible for the campuses to enjoy, while also ensuring that SUNY SA can still function operationally. The role and responsibilities of SUNY SA treasurer is a bit limited, but I like to do whatever I can in my power to help SUNY SA as much as I can. Speaking of which, another thing I like to push for is having a meeting with the executive board to separate the director of student voices into categories instead of having several at-large directors. I like to have each director to focus on a certain issue or category one for sustainability, one for DEIA, which I learned from Onondaga, one for student health, and one for international students. That way, we have a specialized person in each field, so that way they know how to advocate and be a voice for the students. Lastly, I like to focus on the state level rather than the federal. You make a better impact in your local community than focusing on a big scale. I've experienced budgeting roughly $1.3 million in my SGA's entertainment and programming department. Dealing with budgets isn't new to me. I've had to budget for several events that my student government hosts. I'm here to talk with you, not at you. All of my goals are very realistic. I won't be overpromising, and if I'm not living up to my role and responsibilities, then by all means, go ahead and jump me, like I said in my speech. Remember this, remember now. Remember to vote for Benjamin Lau. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate. I will ask the General Assembly to keep conversations to a minimum. Candidate, you may start at the sound of the gavel. You may start now.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bonnie. I currently serve as the USG Treasurer at the Stony Brook campus, and this is my second year in that role. And I manage a $3.8 million budget and support 300 clubs on campus and fund large-scale campus transitions. Alongside this, I am pursuing an accounting degree at Empire State University to strengthen my role as treasurer. I have done a lot of work to improve financial transparency, and I wish to bring this work to SUNY SA. To give a glimpse into what I've done in USG, I invite you to go online right now and look up USG Stony Brook website, and on our main page, you will be able to view our academic year budget sheet. This is all my work, and it's very transparent to Stony Brook students. But if you go onto the SUNY SA website, the budgets are not very accessible. Managing a $3.8 million budget demonstrates my ability to oversee SUNY SA's $250,000 budget. But being treasurer is more than just numbers. I believe it's about advocacy too. The student activity fee is paid by students, and it should be managed by the students. SUNY policy states that proceeds by the student activity fee should be dispersed by the student government, and students deserve a voice on how their money is allocated. At a few campuses, student activity fee funds are controlled entirely by university administration, and I believe this needs to change, and I support these schools in reclaiming student control. Additionally, I also want to support increased student participation in campus committees, as like for example, the University Senate or other governance bodies, so students have a meaningful voice in discussions about university budgeting and decision making. Also, many student activity fee funds are used for essential services like bus or food, costs that really should be covered by the university. At Stony Brook, we are also working to shift some of the similar costs back to the university, and I want to support other campuses to do the same. And letters of support coming from SUNY SA can really be powerful in that effort. And another critical issue is that the student activity fee cap has not been raised from 2004, and that's 22 years. And with inflation, that is simply unsustainable. And I'm committed to advocating for that increase, which reflects today's financial reality. And I will also ensure transparency by providing regular updates on that effort and sharing any progress made along the way. Lastly, I also want to strengthen connections between student government treasurers. When I first started, I had many questions about Treasury operations and wish there were more opportunities to learn from other schools and receive guidance from SUNY SA. That's why I plan to have an open space where treasurers can share ideas, models, and best practices, while also being SUNY SA treasurer can act as a mentor and a go-to resource, especially with schools with high turnover. With 4 years of experience in student government, I understand the challenges because I've been in your shoes. With my experience and dedication and passion, you can trust in my ability to serve you effectively. My name is Bonnie Wong, and I hope that you can count on your vote for treasurer.
Now we will go into a Q&A. Like before, the limit is set to 4. General Assembly can motion to increase or reduce the number of questions at any time. If you have a question, please raise your placards high. Question by 23.
Hello. So since you're running for treasurer of SUNY SA, how many other campuses aside from your own have you looked into the bylaws or the finance policies to see how they do things, and as well SUNY SA's bylaws and just how they compare.
Thank you. We'll start with Bonnie on the way down. Okay. Candidates, you will have 1 minute, 30 seconds, 1 light tap, 15 seconds, and I'll give you 2 light taps. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Hi, Grant. So I have been treasurer for the last 2 years. I have actually reached out to a lot of campuses, including U Buffalo, Farmingdale, Binghamton, about their procedures and looked at their websites. We have a lot of troubles with sometimes like with the financial websites, and I've asked for advice from them. Like recently, we've had discussions about stipends. We also reached out to like Farmingdale, who has a stipend model, and asked them about how they do it, and we take it back in. And we've had the roundtable at the last conference, and we were able to sit around and we shared ideas. I talked at NYAT conference where a lot of schools, and we shared ideas as well. So I have a good idea, but I look forward to hearing more. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Yeah, so UBSA has the largest budget in all of the SUNY system in terms of student governments, but I've also looked at other certain schools to see what they do differently financially. I had an entertainment department meeting with a member from Binghamton and a member from Stony Brook. We talked about how our entertainment budgets are alike, and it's very similar. They do similar budgets for their events. They charge their students money on top of the activity fee, whereas some of us, we let our students attend the events for free. But also when I reach out to the smaller campuses, because as the VP of events, I'm used to doing a lot of events and programming. So the budget experience that I have is focusing on, as a whole for the budget, I'm trying to look at every single campus to see how they do their budget. And I noticed that like some schools have an emphasis on clubs. Others, SUNY schools have, unfortunately, and more emphasis on advocacy, whereas SUNY, I feel like the budget that we're dealing with is a lot more smaller. So I feel like it's definitely more feasible to promote a lot of more financial transparency.
Thank you. Candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So I think it's very important to look at a holistic approach to when being the treasurer and taking aspects that are good from certain campuses and aspects that are not good from certain campuses. For example, there are certain campuses in this room that actually do not get paid to be in student government, which I think is not the best. I would like a universal approach to have student government student government and senators be paid universally across the SUNY system. I'm pretty well versed in the Hudson Valley. I work very close with our treasurer and with our budgeting and our budgeting allocation. And yeah, I think going back to a holistic approach and taking different aspects from certain schools and making it and what certain students like about their budget, what they don't like about it, and really listening to all the voices.
Thank you, candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Thank you, Grant, for the question. I have, of course, read the SUNY SA bylaws and the very short 4 bullets on what the treasurer does. Would love to expand on that, A. I actually think that when thinking about SUNY SA, it's really important to look holistically at the United States and at our fellow statewide student governments. So I've read the bylaws for the UC system out in California, very comparable to the SUNY system in its connections between 4 years and community colleges. So I understand how their budgeting works. Michigan, very close with their head treasurer at the University of Michigan. So in looking at Cornell's governing documents, I've also, of course, looked at the other large SUNYs within the system, Stony Brook, UB, Albany. I do think that in advocating for increasing the student activity fee cap in New York State and with the Board of Trustees, looking outside of New York is very important. And so I would use that knowledge in this role.
Thank you, candidate. Do we have any other questions? Placard 88.
Hi, Hi. In regard to the current SUNY SA budget, where do you think this budget is being well allocated, and where do you think it falls short and could be better allocated? Specifics would be nice. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll do candidate Lau, Renato, Zora, and then we'll go in the order. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Yeah, so I think with this year's, one thing I'd like to push for with the new budget is I'd like to put in higher emphasis on SUNY Advocacy Day in Albany instead of Federal Advocacy Day, because with Federal Advocacy Day, you only can send like very limited people to lobby in DC, and it's hard to get anything done in DC because there are thousands of universities all across the country. How are you going to get a single politician's attention to lobby for a very important matter? I'm trying to focus more on SUNY Advocacy Day, where it's more accessible, because Albany is a lot more accessible to all 64 campuses. And one thing I like to do is push for more money into certain projects and advocacy initiatives, as well as funding for SUNY Advocacy Day, so that way we're able to accommodate for a lot more SUNY students all across campus, because Albany, it's easier to get things done on a local level than on a federal level, and with SUNY Advocacy Day in Albany, it's more accessible to all the students, which is what I'm trying to vouch for as treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Where I would like to allocate some of the more of the money towards and put more of an emphasis on would be outreach, 100%, and visibility for SUNY SA. There's some. I would like to see all SUNY campuses here. Unfortunately, that's not happening, and I would like to put not a monetary incentive on schools to come, but rather have an outreach where they can see why they should come here and the benefits that come along with it. Outreach is super important. I feel like many people, almost like me included, I didn't really understand SUNY SA when I first came here, my first meeting in spring of 2025. But through, obviously me being in the system for almost a year now, I've learned a lot more. I think maybe material and allocation towards more understanding and what SUNY SA actually does is pivotal.
Thank you. Candidate.
Oh.
Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So as I mentioned in my speech, I would really love to see more regional focuses in our meeting schedule, and if we can budget towards that, that would be fantastic. I think that keeping in mind that New York State might not just approve infinite increases in our budget, I would be personally fine with lowering the stipend allocations to each executive position. I know, at least taking on this role, I would be able to pay over a semester's worth of my rent with just a stipend for being treasurer. Not the incentive for doing the job, but especially as someone where currently as president at Cornell, I don't get paid for that work. And I actually don't think that that should be incentive, and so I think that the stipends are a bit too high, and if there was a cut that needed to be made, that's where I would cut first, not the advocacy work, not the outreach, and not the conferences, and I would in fact increase our advocacy to our federal representatives on a district by district basis, as well as, again, those regional meetings to see what are specific issues.
Thank
in
you,
the different
candidate.
divisions.
Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Hi, everyone. So I believe in the SUNY SA budget, it's like collected from registration is dispersed again for the stipends and like for the hotel costs, like to rent this space. So it's a really basic sheet. Whatever's revenue, like it's given out again. But I believe like advocacy, I myself attended Advocacy Day. It was really great. And we were able to support our own campuses, so definitely more funding in there possible. And also I wanted to add on, like, I think it's also important if we can possibly provide like a grant or a scholarship for students who can't attend this conference today, like possibly waiving the registration fee for them or something like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate. Do we have any other questions? 98.
I yield to Kaylin James.
Hi, everyone. Hi, candidates. So my question is, as you know, being a treasurer requires a lot of work. It is a heavy load. So let's say hypothetically, you guys were in a rough spot. You had burnout. How would you, is there like any skills or habits that you guys have that you think would help you in being able to overcome that?
Thank you. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
That's a great question. I think a lot of us all have a lot of our plate, especially with student government, jobs, whatever, whatnot. Definitely this semester I had a lot on my plate. When I first came into Hudson Valley, I was working full time. I took a semester off from high school, and I went into school. I put way too much on my plate, and I ended up not doing as good as I wanted to, or as I did in high school. I eventually learned the importance of time management and my Apple Calendar. So I have built up a system personally that I think is almost nearly bulletproof. It's allowed me to work a job, be a part of a nonprofit, be part of SUNY SA, be part of, and also do schoolwork to a good proficiency. So I really trust my time management skill that I've built up to allow me to do all of these things. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Thank you very much for the question. I am, of course, very used to working very hard in student government. I've been president for 2 years, and in that role, the first thing I do when I know that I'm facing burnout or when I see that my schedule is getting busy, I may have travel in a couple weeks, something like that, is I'm very honest with my representatives about what is on my plate and what is coming up. I say, all right, it's Friday today. I have this weekend to talk to you, and I will be so out of it next week. You're gonna have to give me some grace. I am I know that everyone in student government is busy in different ways and at different times. And so I also try my best to not act like I am, above them or that my job is more important because I'm handling money or whatever it may be. But I do think that honest communication is a good first step. And then from there, seeing if I'm, need to troubleshoot something. I know I had to troubleshoot plenty of stuff at the beginning of this term. And I really appreciate it at least, and will emulate this, asking
Thank you,
advisors and system
candidate.
for help.
Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Hi, so I am the treasurer of Stony Brook University. We handle 3.8 million budget. So compared to what I am the high pressure at back at Stony Brook, this is actually comparatively like probably one of 12 of the pressure over there. And I have like 12 assistants under me. It's always high pressure. So if I can manage that, I can manage this, and I'm very confident of that. And I believe that like everyone here, like I also have a lot in my load, but I would be graduating from USG this year, so I will have plenty of time for this. Thank you.
Testing.
All right. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So being e-board of the UB Student Association, one of the largest student governments, there is a lot going on, especially when you're playing in events. And in the heat of the moment, you can't let backstage get on stage, which means that whatever is going on, you have to focus on the task at hand. And there's a lot going on. And another thing is focus on the smaller task, because once you do the smaller task, you could focus on the bigger task, because once you get a smaller task done, you feel more motivated and feel more confident to take on a bigger task, because with the role of treasurer of SUNY SA, there are a lot of big tasks and a lot of small tasks. If you focus on the small tasks first, you're able to get it done quick, and then you're more motivated and more locked in to get the bigger task done. So that's how I would focus on time management. And then again, don't let anything backstage get on stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions for the candidates? 68.
Hello, all again. My question for you guys, you've discussed a little bit, but what are some ways that you personally could improve financial transparency within SUNY SA, especially as this role as it relates to us as representatives? You're really that liaison. We won't really work with the day-to-day and the data input, so how would you improve transparency?
Thank you. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
I think a really important thing to me is making sure that I'm working with the other members of the executive board on those things like the newsletter and making sure that those are coming out so that my information is also included in the newsletter and going out to campus leaders. I also think making you feel like the money that you pay in registration fees and that your essentially tax dollars as New York State residents go towards this budget are felt when you are at conference, reaching out to us, looking at our website, all of the above. You see where your money is going in our operations. That is first and foremost and probably the only goal of the job.
Thank you. Candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Financial transparency is definitely a very important thing, and it's a part of my role as treasurer in the Stony Brook campus. Like, as I said earlier, if you go on our website, you can just look at our template. It's over there. It's like you can see how much each club requested, how much each club spent, and then what they spent on. Like, only Stony Brook campus, students can view that link sheet, but the application forms. But it is really important to know, like, for students to know where their money is going to. But for SUNY SA specifically, I think firstly the budget should be on the website. I only have access to the budget because I attended the conference last semester, and that's one thing to do. And also, I would like to see more expenditure reports on how much is spent at booking this room, how much is spent on food. Like, I think that's really important because right now it's only like $8,000 for like a conference, and also like maybe more detailed like for stipends, how much is it weekly, so on. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Candidate. I will ask the General Assembly to please not have conversations even on a smaller scale when the candidates are responding to the questions, to respect their time. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Yeah, so one thing I do to promote transparency is, one, focus on the monthly newsletter. Like I said before, I gave myself a hard deadline of the 15th of each month, tax day. Like many of y'all, like I said earlier, what's more scary than being jumped by the IRS? Being jumped by a bunch of angry college SUNY students. I'm trying to avoid that, so that's why I gave myself a hard deadline of the 15th. Also, another thing to promote transparency with all of you all is focusing on how we can get something that the UB Student Association does, like the General Ledger, published on the SUNY Student Assembly website. So that way, like many of y'all, you all know the money how the money SUNY SA is receiving is being spent. Thanks.
Thank you. Candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Obviously, understanding a budget is very, very hard to understand if you're not actually making the budget or allocating the money to it. So again, having that budget visible and also going maybe using plain use language that goes maybe column by column and understanding where each column results in is being allocated where. Again, as I mentioned, I'm the vice president of the investment club, so I have people coming in that don't know what a stock is, and I have people coming in that are going to IB internships over the summer, right? So I think and that's a really big thing that I've had to learn recently is how to explain to people like budgeting or spreadsheet analysis and stuff like that. So getting resources out onto the website on how to understand the budgeting and the spreadsheet is very, very important.
Thank you. Candidate. So we are at our limit for questions. Do I have a motion? Motion from 16? Into voting? Into executive session? Okay. So there's a motion to move into executive session. Is there a second? There's a second by 80. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposing, please say nay. All those abstaining, please say aye. So we will be entering into, that motion approves, we will be entering into executive session. Can we please have The candidates come back to the room. Thank you. Do we have the live stream back on? Perfect. Thank you to all the candidates. The SUNY Student Assembly Treasurer-elect for 2026 to 2027 is Bonnie Wong. Thank you. We will now be moving into secretary elections. I'm going to ask all the pre-nominated candidates for the secretary elections to please come to the Rules Committee table on the left. Point of order? Yes, a mic is coming to you.
Hi, name is Cutter Quinn, SUNY New Paltz. So each e-board election has taken about an hour, and we're supposed to break and be out of this room at 5:30. So I want a motion to recess now before we get into the next election until after dinner, because at least in my view, there's no way we're going to be able to get through this next election by the time we have to vacate this room.
So is that a motion or a point of order?
Sorry, that should have been a motion. My
Okay.
apologies.
So there is a motion to go into recess till basically what is dinner, 5:30. You will be getting a recess at 5:30. You're not jumping straight into dinner because the hotel needs to set up. But however, there is a motion. Is there a second? There is a second by 23. Before we go into voting, I would just like to give, again, some more context. We have over 13 resolutions, and we have to pass budget before the end of the day. Our bylaws require anything for this conference is that we get our e-board elected and pass budget. So, budgets take longer. The goal is to come back from dinner and go into budget. So just keep that in mind as you vote. But we do have a motion on the floor to go into a period of recess till 5:30 after voting. All those in favor, please. So I will not advise the body to go into executive session if Q&A ends up taking that long, if you're closer to 5:30. At that point, we would come back from the 5:30 recess and then go into executive session if Q&A takes that long. That said, we're still in a motion, which leaves us in a period of voting. 68.
I know I personally would like to know if we know a number approximately of delegates, because I think that it would behoove us to get as much done now, considering how much time, and seeing when we had less applicants, it was lickety split. So I would like to know if that's an option to know.
I'm going to consult rules on this quickly. Thank you.
I know we're all tired, but if we could remain as quiet as possible while we figure this out, that would be really, really helpful for everyone up here. Thank you very much.
All right. So we do have an answer for that. There are 4 candidates. Here's what I would also say. Depending on the number of questions there are, what the discussion is, that takes up most of the time. I would, at this point, like to go into a period of voting. I would like to see what the room says with a voice vote, and then we'll go into, if needed, into another alternate method of voting. All those in favor of going into recess now until we come back from dinner, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. All those abstaining, please say aye. The nays have it, and the motion fails. With that, decorum, I will ask the General Assembly for some silence. With that, we are moving into secretary elections. Again, I would like all the pre-nominated candidates to please come to the left by Rules Committee table. Thank you. Not for speeches. You can I'll start with 4. You can limit to 2 questions if you like. You can reduce it from more than 1 minute because then.
All right, second quick question.
It's more.
So sorry. Are you still taking on the floor nominations? I don't think you're announcing.
No, they're closed. I announced it for the vice president elections. When we opened it, it was open for all the officers, and then they're closed.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, what? Up to you. Yes, you can if you'd like to. Yeah. Are you sure? Okay. Okay. Here, Grant.
Sorry, we don't have time.
I can help with that.
That's good. That's good because I don't know. I mean, people that have you just have to be a nice guy.
Inshallah.
Not heard of production. All right, I ask the General Assembly for some silence. Are we all good on live streaming? Okay, perfect, thank you. Please welcome the candidates for the secretary race. Rules Committee, can we please have somebody on timer? Yeah. There. All right, candidates, you will have 3 minutes to speak. When you have 1 minute remaining, I'll do 1 light tap, 30 seconds, 2 light taps, and then 15 seconds, 3 light taps. A Rules Committee member is also in front of you with the timer. We will go in the same order, which is last name alphabetically. So Tahir will go first. Candidate, you may start at the sound of the gavel. You may start now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tahir. I'm a junior at Stony Brook University, majoring in business operations. And I'm here because I'm the VP of Clubs and Orgs in my undergraduate student government. With that, my job is basically to help each club interact with USG, to see what we can do to help them, to access their budgets, and at the same time, chair the probationary budget committee. So with that comes a lot of communication. There's 500 clubs, and believe me, answering emails is my full-time job at this point. So, and I'm sure all of you know how frustrating and irritating it is to answer 50 emails and then look at your inbox in an hour and get 50 more in a matter of minutes. So, how I plan to be secretary? My first point is being organized, right? I'm, like all of you, a college student. I have classes, I have work, I have a whole bunch of other responsibilities, but I do maintain a really good Google Calendar. And with all of my meeting minutes, as hopefully my president can testify, I keep a very organized drive and everything is accessible. With communication, I run my position with one principle, right? Communication has to be proactive, not reactive. If you communicate with each and every club with what we're doing, it has to be accessible to everyone. Regular students cannot look at your minutes, cannot look at documentation, cannot look at your website and not understand what it is. It has to be accessible, it has to be available, and it has to be reached out to proactively. As secretary, I plan on proactively reaching out to each and every SUNY campus, including our community colleges who may not have the best representation here. We would like to reach out and also maintain our minutes and see what we can do. Maybe even having a reflection on them. We do snapshots of everything discussed and sharing it with all of our students across all of our campuses to have them be more involved in SUNY, have them have a higher stake, be advocates for the SUNY system, to unify and share resources, to make sure that we all feel belonged to a system and feel connected within that system. So, that being said, I think Assembly works best when we communicate, and I plan to put that communication along with my organization skills to best use as I go forward. I do ask you guys to vote for me, and hopefully you guys can support me and allow me to be a part of that position.
Candidate, you may start at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So, hello everyone. My name is Dakota Richter. I am a master's student at Buffalo State seeking higher education. Originally, I graduated from SUNY Fredonia with my degree in biology. I know, biology to higher ed. It was quite a shift, and that's because I enjoyed helping people in healthcare, and now in terms of students that are coming of age, they're going to 18, and then they're seeking higher education, because I believe higher education should be accessible for everyone. I grew up in a family of 10, super poor. I'm the only one in my family who went to college. And over the past year, I've had the opportunity to serve in this role and really understand what it means to keep a body organized, transparent, and moving forward. But most importantly, I've learned where we can do better. And that's what my goals are centered on. Originally, when I was at Fredonia, I was the sophomore class president, then I was the chief of staff, then SGA president, and then I also was on college council, and I built SUNY Fredonia up brick by brick. One student voice turned into a gluten-free station in the dining hall. Accessibility, students were complaining that campus could not keep up with the snow. I spent my own time going out to the dormitories, shoveling to make sure students that were in wheelchairs could access the campus still. And now I'm at Buff State. And first, I want to continue strengthening communication and accessibility. As secretary, information should never feel out of reach, whether it's meeting minutes, resolutions, or updates, and that includes making sure SUNY SA is ADA website and the documents comply with e-readers, which I'm looking to working on that. Second, I want to focus on accountability and clarity in our processes. That means we're making sure materials are distributed on time, expectations are clear, and that we're operating in a way that respects both the bylaws and each other's times. Next, I want to talk about the snapshot. So the snapshot, and coming into this role, I was told needs to be done by the Board of Trustees that is mandated. Last year, there was only 2 responses, and we had no information on campuses. So I got 48 responses, then I went through, set up 15 Zoom meetings November 18th, did more in December, realized it was kind of hard to get campuses to pull back. But in speaking with campuses, I learned that the best way is honestly your constitution. So I went through everybody's constitution, spent hours and hours to make an Excel spreadsheet on every person in this room. And lastly, I want to talk about something that reflects my values. I've asked to decrease the secretary's stipend by $2K, and I'm sad to see that other roles got an increase. However, I want to make sure what I did at SUNY Fredonia, building it brick by brick, I can do here now that the secretary role is stabilized again.
Thank you. Candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Good afternoon, y'all. My name is Troy Soreo. I hail from UAlbany, UA. Love it. That said, I've had the tremendous opportunity to be active here at the SUNY level, across the board, attending these conferences, meeting with individuals involved, and in that, I've noticed some shortcomings on the communications end. The secretary is the communications officer for SUNY SA, and I think we can do that better. I have 3 distinct things that I want to do to improve communication. Firstly, something that I've done this year with Rangel from UAlbany, along with the whole rest of our UAlbany team, is we've implemented these quarterly meetings, cross-position meetings, with people from different universities in positions to share what they know, share their tips, so they can take that back to their student government and improve. As secretary, I would work hard, very, very hard with all of you, community college leaders, online college leaders, university centers, to bring this to the SUNY level. Because I think at the end of the day, of course, my job is to take the minutes, do the SUNY snapshot, but really, I think my job is to support you all, and that's one distinct way that I think I could do that. Additionally, I want to expand the newsletter concept. I'm so amazed by all the amazing things that UAlbany and all of the amazing other universities represented here are doing. As I was going around, I was hearing amazing things from the different community colleges and everyone alike. And I think we need to share that, not only so we can brag a little bit, right? SUNY's amazing, but also so we can take what these other universities are doing well and implement it at our university. Moreover, along with that connecting across universities, I really want to get a list of all y'all's positions, as well as every other position within your SGAs, SAs, and send that out to each of you. So, I have a question about running a budget or running a Senate. Hey, let me go and reach out to my counterpart from this other university, and let me see if they could help. At the end of the day, of course, a lot of SUNY SA is advocacy work, but that advocacy work takes a long time. And while I would work very hard to support that by giving updates on our resolutions, I would be making sure that I'm staying on top of the rest of the e-board and the people that we're sending these resolutions to, whether it be the Board of Trustees or other individuals. I would want to provide you all updates, but that's not what I'm running for. I'm running to support each of you because advocacy, while important, takes time. But what I can do right now, if elected, is support each of you to better your campuses and better the SUNY system as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you, candidates. We will now go into Q&A. Please raise your placards high. If you have a question, please raise your placards high. 68.
Candidates, I would like to know what are some ways that the SUNY SA website can be improved upon to allow students to gain a deeper understanding of SUNY SA. Some of you mentioned it, but I would like to know specifics, what you would like to see changed.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. I will also ask the General Assembly to please not have conversations while questions are being answered and while voting delegates are asking questions. That said, we'll go Troy, Dakota, Tahir, in that order. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Sorry to the parliamentarian for skipping ahead. I'm so excited to give you an answer, and I thank you very much for giving that question. As I came up in SUNY SA and in student government as a whole, a lot of websites are confusing. The SUNY SA website is better than the UAlbany SA website, and I've worked hard to improve that as much as I can. But that said, the SUNY SA website, I think we could do resolution tracking on there. There's a lot of legislators and Congress people who have tracking software on their websites. That's one thing that I think is super easy to implement that would give you all some transparency on what we're doing. Additionally, I think adding in a section for student comments and shout outs would be really great as well. So maybe that's posting the newsletter that I talked about there, or maybe it's just hey, this community college did this week, this university center did this week. I just really think that we can transform that website into a more holistic shout out to SUNY as a whole.
Thank you. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Thank you, Trina, for the question. So in terms of the website, I think when I hear students' concerns, they're like, okay, well, first of all, what even is SUNY SA? What is it? I asked. We don't have an actual presentation. We don't have no information that we can send out on actually what SUNY SA is. So I think having a presentation on the baselines or the flow chart of who reports to who, I think that would be important. And additionally into that, I think also including our reports from our executive committee meetings so you can see what our updates are, so you can see if we're actually passing resolutions, but then you can also see if we're following up on those resolutions within the actual public comment section. And then in addition to that, once again, I think it would be kind of cool to kind of have the reps to have a certain section on the website where they can post, hey, so-and-so is looking for information on this topic. Please reach out to XYZ if you can help or aid in a certain way.
Thank you, candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So going over the SUNY SA website, I'm sure it looks really nice, but I think it as a general, firstly, as a general theme, it should be more student-based. We're student assembly. Our website should be reflective of that. Right now, it seems like a very, bureaucratic office, in which we are, but we also need to highlight students and student initiatives. What an idea that I also wanted to see on the website was a student voice hub. SUNY students across the board, when they visit the website, I wouldn't know who to contact if I wasn't a part of SUNY SA. I wouldn't know who to reach out to. I wouldn't know where to go. So a simple solution, have a student voice hub on our website where you can post comments, questions, concerns, things that we can help you with. I think expanding our horizons is one thing that will help us do.
Thank you, candidate. Do we have any other questions? Number 14.
Thank you. I just want to say that student voice is so important, and communication is also very important. But for more of the smaller SUNY campuses, like the community colleges, like the comprehensive universities, how are you guys planning to decenter the big four institutions to give more voice and more opportunity to the smaller, more local campuses, or more rural campuses? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll do Dakota, Tahir, and then Troy. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So I grew up in SUNY Fredonia, so JCC is right nearby, so is ECC. After I graduated from Fredonia, I actually applied to do my nursing degree back at JCC with a community college because I value and I respect the amount of work and time that those professors put in there. But in terms of how we're going to advocate and how would I advocate, well, I'm always talking about community colleges. I've pushed back on internal members specifically around community colleges concerns, right? Because I think there's always this conversation, and I've learned in my classes of, oh, why don't we value community college? It's a stepping stone, it's a stepping stone. For some people, it's not. It's their whole life. So it's not a stepping stone, right? That could be somebody's career that they're going for. So I think by just communicating with the community colleges, and even if you don't understand, supporting them no matter what, because as a leader, that's what you do. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So, of course, I definitely agree with Dakota. We definitely should have all of these community colleges included. And it is their life. And so what am I going to do about it? What are my action plan items that I foresee of doing that? One, I think I mentioned this, but I really value feedback. I really value students being able to have a platform to express their beliefs, to express their concerns, to express their questions of things we can help you with. We as administrators don't really have a sort of idea of everything. We're also human. So firstly, again, as I mentioned, a very open communication with each and every SUNY, regardless of their status or their size, having an open voice hub, open lines of communication. I'm also very enthusiastic about learning about different ideas and how we can help. So a very short idea would just be me.
Thank you, candidate.
Can I finish the sentence?
Sorry, no. Thank you. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Thank you. I think that community colleges are just as valuable as four-year institutions. Personally, both of my parents went to community college, and they were really pushing for me to go to community college before going to a four-year institution. So I see the value in that, and how I would address it is having those monthly, quarterly, I haven't really decided yet, but having those conversations with different community college leaders. It's not just setting up these meetings and having them share best practices. It's me and other e-board members sitting in on these best practices, listening to them and seeing then, okay, hey, this is an issue here. Do we need to take this to the Board of Trustees? Do we need to take this to the Chancellor? Is this an advocacy issue? I think a lot of times, a lot of listening gets done at the big four and the big institutions, and we need to center it and go back to listening to all the institutions, and I would really spend the time to do that.
Thank you. Candidate, do we have any other questions? 107?
So all of you seem to have very similar goals. What differentiates you from your additional candidates?
Thank you. The order we'll go in will be Tahir, Troy, Dakota. Okay. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So I'm really glad that you asked this question. First thing I'll say that I'm really new to this space. I'm new to SUNY SA. I haven't been to too many conferences. I haven't interacted with too much of the leadership, while I have interacted with a lot of, you guys. So first thing I will say is that I bring fresh perspective. I'm not part of the system. So as an outsider, I would know what needs to be changed. Secondly, while I do have a lot of experience with communication, with understanding how to collect feedback, I'm always open-minded. I love implementing feedback that is given out. And I really appreciate people who take their time to come in and give us their piece of their opinion and their valuable experiences and share with us how it goes. And implementing that is something that I think differentiates me from the rest.
Thank you, candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Yeah, thank you. Again, as I said in the very beginning, I'm running to do more than to take the minutes and to send the emails. I'm running to support each and every one of you by sharing my expertise, but more importantly, connecting you each other so y'all can share your expertise and bring that back to your campuses. I'm not just here, if elected, to take the minutes, to send the emails, to do the SUNY Snapshot. I really believe my role, if elected, is to help you all better your campuses while, of course, pursuing that advocacy work in the background. So the other two candidates, they've talked a lot about what they would do in terms of the things that are kind of the status quo of what we do now. But I'm really running to expand the role and to do more to serve each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So being in a higher ed program, I've learned the history of who was left out and bringing that knowledge into present day, right? So making sure I'm realizing who do we really need to keep our eyes on, who do we need to focus on more, who do we need to support a little more than others. And for me, I would say what sets me apart is I might seem like a quiet leader, but as a quiet leader, when someone makes me mad because they've upset somebody else or they're not advocating for a group, I'm not afraid to step on toes. I did that in my last campaign when I kicked out that incumbent. I've done that with some of these internal members surrounding issues and smaller wins around community colleges, university, agriculture, technology that I'm not able to share, but I do fight. And I think in terms of what I wanted to do, it's being able to work within the infrastructure that you're given, because now that I'm on the opposite end, I can see that there is a structure that you have to work in. But with this new incoming president, I think that will change, and I'll be able to do more.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? 62.
Hello, my name's Melissa. I'm the president at Jamestown Community College. So from the candidates, I've heard a lot of you guys say you want to do more, you want to be an advocate for students, you want to reach out and listen to us. In your own words, what specifically in your own way are you going to do to accomplish that? Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. Who started last time? Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
So, hi, Melissa. Nice to see you. So I think in terms of communication and how we really outreach, I think being able to respond to student concerns when they email you. I've responded to emails before, and then I get told to stop and then pass it on someone else. So I think if I had more autonomy to be able to respond to those emails, to respond to those concerns, I would be able to follow up a lot more than I currently am. And I think in terms of the newspaper, I'm so glad you've brought that up and so many people have brought that up because that is a passion of mine. That is something I've wanted to do and still want to do. And in terms of that newsletter, it's still communicating with each campus. It's still being able to submit, say, that campus spotlight, right? Those forms have been done. The Google Forms have been done. The design has been done. However, as a student myself, I did stumble, and guess what? I've come back stronger because that's what you do when you stumble. You clear your mental health, you clear your mind, and that's how you can become a better leader. And that's how I hope to communicate.
Thank you, candidate. Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Okay, I've mentioned this before, and I would continue to reiterate that, again, communication should be proactive. I want to reach out and hear you out. I want to have the Student Voice Hub on the SUNY SA website where you can tell me what's wrong with what we can do better. I want to have each and every one of you sent an email by me just, checking in to see if everything's okay. I want to have proactive communication. I want to see what events you're doing on campus. And I think having those sort of weekly, bi-weekly, monthly check-ins really helps and just to create community. I think a lot of times what happens is we get divided into our campuses and forget that we're part of like a system. We're part of SUNY, which connects all of these campuses into having a similar goal. And so having that outreach, that's definitely something I want to do.
Thank
and that's
you,
how
candidate.
I will do it.
Candidate, you may begin at the sound of the gavel. You may begin now.
Thank you, Melissa, and it was great meeting you earlier today. Like I've said, I feel like a broken record now. I want to connect you all with each other and connect you all with the e-board. These sessions with each other will involve at least myself. That's something I will promise. Here and now, I will be on those calls, and we will listen to you, and we will do what we can after that to bring your concerns to wherever they need to be brought. Moreover, I want to be proactive in my communication to you. With the newsletter, I'm always going to have my email on there, maybe even my phone number. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But just getting that information from you, I think, is crucial, and getting out the information that we're doing, right? We can't respond to things we don't know are happening, and y'all can't advocate for things or advocate on things that we're doing if you don't know what we're doing. So I think it really comes down to being proactive, getting those newsletters out, having those meetings, the positional meetings, or the college meetings, or the community college meetings, just having those meetings, listening to you, and being proactive. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate. So we are at our 4-question limit, and the time is 5:25. We have to be out of the room by 5:30 for hotel to set up for dinner, which is at 6 p.m. I will encourage the General Assembly at this moment to do a motion for recess till 6 p.m., and we'll all be back. Do I have a motion from 68? Second from 80. We'll do a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposing, please say nay. All those abstaining, please say aye. Thank you. We are General Assembly, quick announcements. We are in recess till 6 p.m. Please arrive here promptly at 6 p.m. for us to begin. We still have budget and the secretary elections to go through. Please make sure to have your menu ticket as well. Thank you.
Please remove personal items from the table for the hotel to set for dinner. Please remove personal items from the table so the hotel can set for dinner, please. If you can, put it in your chair, set it on the floor. If at all possible, please remove your personal items from the table so the hotel can properly clean up and set for the next meal. The hotel is on a tight timeline. They're being very gracious, allowing us to be in here this long. Thank you.
I didn't hear anything you said.
Any personal items can be left on the floor or the chair, but please take